Hello, all you lovely people, and welcome to another episode of Radio Redux, a Radio Redux show I didn't know I was recording until 2.5 hours before live. Yay! Anyway, hello, welcome to a February official. It's that time again, apparently. There's so much to do. This would technically be our last show on a normal series, but if you heard last week's show, you'll know that's no longer going to be the case. It's back to 1 hour in length because Rexy is back in the hot seat for Sega Mixer Drive on Radio Sega at 8 PM on Sundays. And yes, I have no idea what we're going to talk about or what we're going to play, but hey, it's a nice scratch show. Technically I'm on holiday now, so yeah, that's a thing that will definitely not result in me working till 5 in the morning as I did last night. But it's fine. It's fine. Let's just play a track. Let's just have just random tracks from freaking anywhere throughout today. It's been a rough old week. I've literally just finished writing words for somebody's funeral, and distraction everywhere, please. Let's start with something from one of the Tales games. I'll tell you what it is afterwards. Surprise. those of you with a keen ear will be able to identify the usual cadence of Mr. Jin Senoue. Of course it's Jin Senoue with a guitar like that. That was the track Knight's Passage from Sonic and the Black Knight. One of the 2 storybook series games we have had so far. No, that series is dead now. So before that, we actually had from the Tales of Series Battle Arrangement Tracks number 2 album, the track Never Surrender, which is actually from Tales of the Abyss. So it's already been a very, very busy couple of days. In fact, over the last week, I've done, let's say, a number of things. None of which I wanted to do. There's... Okay, so the ongoing project of LMC, the ongoing archive project for LMC regarding all the TSSZ posts. All the TSSZ posts are now on LMC. They're not public, but they're all on LMC. So the whole archive is on there now. It's been set to private, and boy, just going through that will take a long time. There's been a few hiccups along the way, and I'm not talking about the dragon riding kind. There's, you know, at one point, 800 posts. Well, at one point, a whole bunch of posts decided that when they were being put on there, they no longer wanted to be going to the writer associated with them. They wanted me to be the writer from now on, which is sweet, I guess, and also completely unhelpful. Because all that means is me just having to go through for ages and trying to erase all these erroneous posts that have been allocated to me in the back end of the website. Thanks, WordPress. I needed that like I needed a hole in the side of my penis. So, there's that. Then there's a randomly I've figured out there'd be like 800 posts of Donnie. Now, as you probably might recall, for those of you who've hung around and listened to me ramble for a while, you may recall that I had actually gone through all of Donnie's posts that he did on TSSZ and actually reformatted them into, you know, a format for LMC, because obviously you can't just slap on all these posts onto LMC, because it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. It needs to be reformatted and redone, and there's a lot of stuff that just needs doing anyway. From, you know, it's old and broken and not in the right style, and some of it's all spelt very wrong and things like that. And not necessarily Donnie's, I should point out, but like 800 of those posts that I spent an absolute age reformatting have been partly undone. Not even entirely undone, partly undone. So it's like a whole bunch of like crap tags have been added to it. It's lost some of the formatting all the way through. It really is like, it just like gouged out chunks of what I had done and showed what it used to be underneath for some reason. So I've got to do all those again. But hey, there's some stuff up. That includes at least, well, all the posts from one correspondent of TSSZ, because they only had like 2, and it was a bit silly. So I've just put that there is actually a TSSZ news staff account, which they had and is now obviously a part. So that's all been sort of roped and rolled into that account, because, you know, there's no bloody point in having like a 2-post account for somebody that's never going to add anything else to it. So it's credited in the disclaimer at the bottom of the post that we have. But so there's that. Yeah, kind of downhearted about the whole Donnie thing with regard to those posts. But there's a whole bunch of articles that have gone up as of last night, like a lot of historical stuff. There's the Tristan piece from 1999 on whether or not the Dreamcast will be successful. There's a bunch of 1999 stuff, which is frankly great to see. That we've got, we've kept that history to that degree. There's a number of other opinion pieces that have gone up too. A bunch of news stories charting the fortunes of the Sonic the Hedgehog movie, among other topics, and so I've been thinking about death quite a lot recently. As you know, I had my little trip down south to see my mum, who has been quite ill, and to put it mildly, it's just as well I did go down there, because otherwise she would have died, and we both kind of acknowledged that. Since that time, unfortunately, well, I'm not close with the family, well, either side of my family now, to be honest. It's there wasn't much really on my mum's side in terms of family ever, and my dad's side I have maintained a healthy distance from for a number of years for various reasons. The one person that really cared about me on that side has died as of last weekend, unfortunately. Last week, I should say, unfortunately. So I've been thinking about that quite a lot, really, because it seems like a very it seems like like a devil's bargain type thing, and that I've kept mum, but I've lost this other one person that cared, and because I'm not going to be able to attend the funeral because everything's going on, and that really bugs me. And the fact is, I started to think about a bunch of stuff, and I came back round to thinking about Desmond, our good friend Iceman. Most people name as Etika, who, considering some of the topics I've discussed recently and what happened with him so sadly, so tragically, it's, I can't help but, even though we didn't interact that much, I miss the guy. And there's a whole bunch of other people that I miss at the minute. And there's a whole bunch of people that I know I probably am not going to see for a long time. And there's a very good chance I might not see some of them ever again now. And it's that loss, a sense of loss, which at the minute I'm trying to work through. And it's very funny, because this is of those, what I wanted to say was, of those TSSZ posts, because that was online, I made sure that those were like the first things that got done. The posts about Desmond, those were the things that got restored first, because I wanted to make sure that they were pristine and up and not going anywhere. But it's funny that this show is number 222, and in trying to find out like a name for the show, I just did a search for 222, because the numbers mean something. All numbers have some kind of meaning attached to them, whether it's through pop culture or religion or just through cultural heritage. There's always something there. I think, if I remember rightly, like 111 we called the Nelson Show because of the connection there between 111 and Lord Nelson. Which is also a term in cricket. When you get 111, it's called Nelson. It turns out that 222, there's such a thing as called angel numbers, which are indicative of basically, you know, I suppose like heaven and fate are trying to give you a hint as to where you've got to go with your life. And most of these are like common numbers, repetitive numbers. So 111 in itself would be an angel number, and so would 000 and 333 and 444, etc., etc., etc. If it's a repetitive series of numbers, then it's supposedly fate telling you something important. 222. Initially, on my research, it was like peace and harmony. I was like, hey, that's good. That's good. Maybe that's a sign. And then I found out it's not that. That's actually 2222. And with the greatest of respect, if I get to Radio EX episode 2222, my permission to bury me alive if necessary. 222 is actually imbalance. A two in nature indicates balance. So if you've got a two and a 2, so 2 on its own is fine. A 2 and a 2 is also fine. 3 2s, however, is actually the opposite. It's a sign your life is out of balance and you should look for ways to restore it. This could be, it says here, an imbalance in emotional, mental, or even physical capacities. You could be doing too much and not spending enough time with people you love, or doing the things you enjoy. Likewise, you could be putting too much time and effort into relationships, while others are not focusing on achieving other important life goals, such as your career. I don't believe in things like that. I just don't. There are, you know, I believe the universe has an uncanny ability of letting you know what it thinks of you. But things like that, I think, are just coincidence. If you like look at a clock every day at a certain time, that's not, you know, that's not, it's not a sign. It just means that you're very set in your ways in terms of your thought process and your mentality and your routine. If you always look at a clock and it says 11:17 in the morning, that just means that you're around about the time when subconsciously you think, hey, I wonder what the time is, or I wonder if it's near 11:17. We, all of us, need to find some balance. All of us need to find what it is that makes us happy. So much as I said in the other show we had when I discussed things of this nature, please, all of you, make sure that you're maintaining those bonds. You're maintaining that balance between each other. We're closing in on the end of this very dark, very long tunnel. But we still need each other to get there. Make sure you remember that.
on iTunes, Spotify, and Radio Sega. You're listening to Radio Redux.
happily back to the world of video games now. That was Sukhumi, a coastal area downtown from Metal Gear Rising Revengeance. And before that, we had Tame a Bad Boy, which is from King of Fighters 13, and it's the theme of Kim Team. Those are the two tracks you just had. So, lot of stuff going on in the world of Sonic the Hedgehog. Sonic the Hedgehog? Ooh. It warms the cockles of my wallet, or at least Sega's. There's lots going on, lots of change, and we know that basically the voice cast as we know it appears to be out. They are gone. We have lost Roger. We've lost. It seems the rest of people. We're not entirely sure, with the exception of Mike Pollock. Now, those of you who have been around the community for, let's say, the last 7 years, won't be particularly aware that this is not the first time this has happened, okay? What has happened previously has actually happened within my time as somebody familiar with the workings of blue hedgehogs. God, my life is weird. As somebody is familiar with the workings of Sonic the Hedgehog and has been around a bit, those of us who are the, shall we say, more senior members of the video game community at this point in time, we know this is like the third time this has happened. Okay, so it last happened in 2010, which ushered in the Craig Smith-led cast that you guys have been familiar with since Sonic Colors onwards. But before that, we had the Griffith era, the Jason Griffith era, and that was, of course, the voice actors who came in from Sonic X, and that happened to give continuity between everything that was going on. Now, before that, you had the Drummond-led cast. When the Drummond cast was replaced, frankly, they weren't treated very well. Sega basically just went, yeah, we're doing this, and didn't really let anybody know. The voice actress for Rouge, whose name escapes me, I'm terribly sorry, was actually in charge of managing the voice actors at the time, as that was one of her roles, and she was very upset because they just Sega straight up hadn't told anybody from the team that this was happening. They basically informed them after the fact. So so Sega historically doesn't have the best, of records with this. When it switched from those voice actors over to the newer ones, it was announced that it was announced internally that this thing was happening. But what you got was, again, it was kind of your contract is up, your service is no longer required. And again, they didn't really do what you would say was the right thing. for people associated with it. They have a tendency of doing this, guys. They have a tendency of... I mean, the industry has a tendency of treating voice actors like they're completely, you know, dispensable. And they're just sort of, you know, some sort of random service. It's bizarre. We know historically, obviously, there's obviously the whole thing of movie and television actors replacing voice actors in prominent roles. So now we've moved on and we've come to the end of the Craig Smith era of voicing, which obviously does not seem, considering that it's not just Roger that's leaving, it does seem like it's a corporate decision and that Roger didn't, you know, necessarily want to leave. I think that would be fair to suggest. We're now in this situation where the whole thing is repeating again. Now, for those that don't know, or back in 2010 when that switch over to what would become, let's say, the boom voice actors, let's say that, what you got was obviously there's a whole bunch of stories being, a whole bunch of auditions for the various roles. And thankfully we kept Mike Pollock then, as we're keeping Mike Pollock now, because seriously, no one else can do the job as well as Mike Pollock. So why would you even consider? Also, there's the whole thing about age with regard to the voice, because obviously your voice changes as you get older, and after a decade, what you sound like initially will not sound like later on. If you compare Radio Reduxes from now to previously 10 years ago, which we've had recently on Radio Sega as part of the LMC block, just as sort of cover, I sound very different, unsurprisingly, 10 years ago. I also sound slightly Cockney for some reason. I don't know why I always sound like that. I was freaking mortified when I heard that recording. I'm somewhat more baritone now, as you may have heard. Yes. Welcome to Radio Redux. Now the weather. We've got... because this show wasn't planned in any way, shape or form, as I said, there is currently... There's still time on this if you're listening to this live on Radio Sega. I did mention that in discussions with all this was going on and everyone was going crazy, that will Ryan Drummond come back? 2 sets of voice actors later, will Ryan Drummond come back? To which I confirmed a long time ago, but apparently nobody took any notice of me. But I did confirm that Ryan Drummond did actually audition for Sonic in the 2010 auditions. And again, if you don't know, I was a part of the team that actually made the decision. So, you have, via Twitter, there's a poll currently on my Twitter account, which is at the Kevin Eva. If you go on there at the minute, there's a Twitter poll with some time left on it. I'm not quite sure how much, but if you go on there, you can vote for one of 4 stories, which I will tell you about the 2010 Sonic the Hedgehog voice actor auditions. There's 4 stories. I will tell you 2, but I'm not telling you what those stories are. There's got cryptic clues as to what the topic is about, necessarily. Go on there and vote, and the next time we talk on Radio Redux, I will regale you, or just bore you, with 2 of those tales. Maybe a little bit more detail than I have previously. Wait and see. Can we have some more music? Certainly. Yes, of course you can. This is your radio show. Talking to yourself. What is this one? I don't know. Up next is From End of Eternity, aka Resonance of Fate, a video game that Sega made that everyone's completely forgotten about. We have the track Freud Remnants, after which it's time to pray.
For 15 years, bringing you the best in video game music. This is Radio Redux.
Okay, so not much. Okay, so not so much time for. Okay. Okay, so not so much time to Prey, but time for Prey. Prey, obviously, the 20. Not so much time to Prey as time for Prey. The 2017 complete and absolute it wasn't even a reimagining, really, was it? It was the same title on a game with barely anything to do with with the original game, but the 2017 version of Prey. Of course, that was a track by Mick Gordon, and it was called Human Elements. It was like a bit of Mick Gordon. It was a Bethesda game, of course, developed by Arcane Studios, but published by Bethesda. So naturally enough, it had some quirky Bethesda things that came with it. The direct quote I've just looked up is a reimagining of the IP. It literally was just nothing to do with the original Prey. Again, I've talked about the original Prey before, which is one of my favourite openings to a video game ever. With just, hey, you're in a bar, Blue Oyster Cult comes on. A jukebox, and then you're just abducted by aliens just randomly, and they're attacking the Earth, and everyone's gonna die. Hey, you're on board the alien ship now. Find out what the hell's going on. Get yourself out of there. No idea. It's funny because it was. The original game was originally actually going to have a sequel to it. There was going to be a Prey 2 from the original game. If you see when the main brother cancelled it in 2014, then 3 years later you had this other game which just inherited Prey. But are we actually going to get a sequel to that game? Are we actually going to get a sequel to that? I wonder. I do. It seems unlikely. Yet, it was so very, very successful. Who knows? But in honour of the joy that is Bethesda, and because it was posted in the LMC Discord earlier, we've got a special parody song from a YouTube channel that we're going to play out the show with, and we're also going to play out with since Rexy's coming back, we're going to have a remix, and since the wait is over for the return of Sega Mix Drive, we're going to play from Overclocked Remix's Project Chaos. The wait is over. Up next, you've got this track. Where is it? I can't even find the bloody thing now. Up next, you've got from the Chalkeaters, the Todd Howard song. It Just Works from Bethesda the Musical. And then you've got, as I said, the wait is over. And that's by KungFuChicken. I'll see you in a few weeks on another Radio Redux, and there'll be a theme and stuff, and I won't have to be pulling this together in like goodness knows how long. Until that time, enjoy the music and the story of Todd Howard. Bye for now.
Please welcome the game director of Bethesda Game Studios, Todd Howard.
Watch this, a news release. The legendary series you missed for years comes back, get ready for some action. Got a couple bugs in here, smoke clips right there. The fans fix it anyway, so we don't care. They'll patch it through microtransactions. So enjoy your pretty nylon bag. Oh, and boy, stop shitting on our swag. You're not getting any money back. You knew this was a one-way wacky track. Juice it up and have your nylon bag. Coming up with even real drag. Overseas will drink the tube I'll take, so you're not getting your money back. It just works, it'll last on. It shows people why money flows. It just works. It just works, overpriced, open words, earnings rise, take my word. It just works, it just works, it just works, it just works. Cutting edge as far as I can tell. The creation engine aged very well. We're not planning on doing anything about it. Skyrim's a limit, don't deny it. See this mountain, you can buy it in the DLC for the price of a real mountain. What's wrong with a train in place of your head? Come on, believe me, you see nothing yet. The battle spaceship with the dragon animation will become a new sensation on the internet. Just shut up, give us your every dime. Buying an armored horse is not a crime. Ideas can either shadow me with life, so we'll Skyrim one more time at a time. It just works, little life stunning. Shows people why money flows. It just works. It just works, overpriced, open worlds, earnings rise, take my word. It just works, it just works, it just works. We don't want your machine. It's just something that we need. See the Lord and use the job. Promise making our sleep. We don't want your machine. It's just something that we need. See the Lord and use the job. Now listen up. Welcome to the place washed by E-like waves. There's 2.5 peasants with the same ugly face. If you're not into small towns, check out big-ass planes. 50 times the size of Skyrim, spice is many in this cave. You see, we at Bethesda know exactly what you want. Hardcore gamers inspired us to improve shopping a lot. Now we stock with must be bought for an extra 10 spot. And saving now was a pay bond for just 20 a slot. You're never getting bored with infinite quests. There's every vagabond to put you to the test. Maybe richly awarded with infinite chests full of rusty swords and used pregnancy tests. We got rid of skill trees, they were old and lame. We need a leveling system and a role-playing game. We can just slash and kill and save one more nation. No more levels and skills, only diamond